You're listening to the new home for the Sean Hannity Radio Show, News Talk 600 WSOM.
Welcome to Afternoons with Tracey and Friends, the local talk show that stimulates your mind and keeps you thinking about things going on in your world. From local issues to topics of global importance, Tracey and Friends keeps you informed and keeps the conversation going. Call to talk to Tracey and Friends at 347-945-5229, 330-781-9600, or toll free at 1-866-530-WSOM. Listen online at TraceyandFriends.com or at 600WSOM.com. And now, here's Tracy Winbush.
Hi, Mr. Dunn. How are you?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
I'm doing well, and welcome to Tracey and Friends. I'm glad to have you on.
Thank you very much.
Tell my listening audience who you are and what is going on over at Allied Waste.
My name is Douglas Dunn. I'm the general manager for Allied Waste, both the hauling company and carbon limestone landfill. As of the end of October, our union contract with Teamsters 377 has expired. We're currently working through the negotiation process, and we're confident we're going to reach an agreement. A lot of the non-economic issues have been resolved. We have tentative agreements on most of those items. The sticking point going forward is on the economic proposal, where we as a company are proposing to withdraw from Central States Pension Fund.
And what does that mean when you talk about the Central States Pension Fund? Explain that a little bit to us.
Central States Pension Fund is a fund that has been in critical status for quite some time, which critical status is, I believe that figure to be, when a fund is roughly 60% underfunded, it reaches critical status. All members are made aware of this year after year after year. Thomas Nyan, who is the administrator of the Central States Pension Fund, went to Congress in 2010 asking for some help to stabilize this fund, which he was denied. He testified before Congress by the year 2023, the fund is going to be insolvent. So that our goal during this contract negotiation is to provide a safer type of retirement opportunity, which would be the company 401k plan, same exact plan that I'm in. Back 20 years ago, when the fund was, in a healthy status, it would be 4 employees paying into the fund to take care of one retiree. Today, it's just the opposite. So for every contribution I make on behalf of my employees, they're getting 20 cents to the dollar.
This seems to be a common thread, not just with you, but with a lot of companies and a lot of public employees. Tell me, what do we as Americans and what do we as citizens have to do to become more responsible for that for preparing for our future?
I guess, first of all, in this scenario, I would think that the question should have been asked before now on what the Teamsters were going to do to revitalize this fund, so when our people get to that age where they're looking forward to spending time abroad or with their family and having that stability. We probably shouldn't have waited so long for someone to raise that question.
So here we have another situation of procrastination?
I think so. I mean, in 2010, when these conversations were being had with Congress, one of the two things that was asked, what needs to be done to stabilize this plan, one was to not lose any membership, and two, there needed to be a return on investment, I think, of 10% each and every year. Well, since those conversations have taken place, the Teamsters allowed our competitor, Waste Management, to withdraw from the fund. They also allowed UPS to withdraw from the fund, and that was roughly $800 million a year contributed by UPS.
Wow.
We have all these members withdrawing from the fund. You know, it was already problematic enough until the issue with Hostess. You know, once Hostess went bankrupt, shut down, they owed $11.8 million to the fund just in contributions that they were to be paying in. That doesn't cover the expense of withdrawing from the fund. I mean, if we were to reach an agreement today and withdraw from Central States, we would be looking at $130 to $160 million we would have to pay just to withdraw from the fund. That doesn't include the monies we're proposing to put into 401ks on behalf of our employees.
How often does this contract come up?
The last contract was a 3-year. It varies between 3 and 5. You know, we're trying for a 5-year this go around.
How long? What do we have to do? Because you know, we have the bargaining table, then we have your employees, and most of them are not sitting there. They're just waiting to vote so it can be ratified.
That's correct.
And a lot of times, when you're in negotiation, your employees really don't know what's being put on the table and or the open situation of the company as well as what their bargaining unit is asking for.
I think you're 100% accurate.
How do we begin to open up this communication? I mean, we have so much technology now. There should be no reason why the people who have to vote on the ratifying of these contracts are not informed during the process of the contracts, so that they know where the company is, where the company lies. Because if the company and or the pension becomes insolvent, then no one gets paid. Everybody's broke.
That's correct. Now, you know, there is the Pension Benefit Guarantee Corp, PBGC.
But see, that we can't continue to. We keep on leaning into that. You know, General Motors is leaning into that. You know, the steel workers are leaning. You can only lean into something that has no money when the government has no money for so long until they have no money.
You're right. You know, currently today, I think it would be once again that the 20 cents on the dollar number is what someone might get from the guarantee. I mean, it's not going to be there either.
And see, I have a problem. We keep on going. We play a shell game. So we have our money in one fund, and we keep on robbing that fund to pay the other fund, and then we go to the other fund hoping it'll pay the other fund. And pretty soon we're going to run out of funds. And I don't think the average American worker, including the ones that work on the trucks out there for you, really know what's going on within the constraints of a business.
I would agree with you. You know, we're more than open with the information that we can give out. You know, we'd love to sit down and have a meeting with all of our folks and, you know, explain the situation. You know, we're not asking for that money that's in the Central States Fund. I mean, that is still their money, and if the fund survives, then they'll have 2 outlets to, you know, for drawing their retirement. We're not asking for that money. You know, we've proposed that based on certain years of service, employee age, you know, some of our people would get $50,000 put into their 401k literally overnight once we reach an agreement. So, you know, we're doing everything we can on our end. You know, it's been said that we're pushing this to save money. It's quite the opposite. I mean, we're going to take a pretty significant financial hit up front to do that. The $160 million to get out, the $50,000 per X amount of employees, all the way down to $1,000, depending on how long they've been with the company.
Now let me ask you, cost of doing business, because you know we go out to. I mean, I see you pick up my trash, and I see you doing what you do, and the recycling bin. I see the trucks moving, but the cost of doing business, how much has it increased over the last 3 to 5 years since the last contract?
You know, I don't have that information in front of me, but, you know, everything goes up from the benefits that we, you know, pay for our employees. Our wages go up every year. Fuel, insurance, you know, it's just like your household. It's just a larger scale.
And then you guys have a lot of regulations and requirements that you have to actually be beholden to. Am I correct?
Absolutely. And also we have a lot of competition. You know, we are the only union trash hauling company in the area. So
wow.
We have that too, as we try to stay competitive and have these additional costs that maybe a non-union company wouldn't be faced with.
Now, what do you want my listening audience to really glean from this conversation? What do you want them to know?
I guess I'm hoping that my own employees are listening to your show today. I need them to definitely get involved and know where the fund is headed. I mean, like you said, technology, you can go on the internet and research Central States pension, and it's the same on every page that you read. I'm confident. I'm going back into negotiations yet today, so I'm confident that we're going to be able to reach an agreement. We've had a great relationship and still have, that same relationship with the Teamsters, and that's because, one, we treat our people fairly. We pay them extremely well for what they do. We appreciate what they do. I just need to make sure, that everybody is fully aware of what's going on with the plan when they eventually cast that vote.
Hey, the number is 347-945-5229, and if you want to call locally, you can. The number is 330-781-9600. If you have any conversation or questions for Mr. Dunn from Allied Waste, please call in, and he'll be here for a few more minutes. I do have one question for you, because are you the contract for the city of Youngstown?
We are not.
Okay.
We have held it in the past, but we currently do not have that contract.
Well, maybe you can answer the question for me, because it might just be based on the company that we actually use in the city, or it may just be universal. Why is it they only pick up trash on one side of the street at a time instead of doing both sides at one time?
Pretty much that when the residential front load equipment came out, it's much safer. The driver doesn't have to go to the back of the truck, and now to go across the street, pull that material across, one, it's far less productive, and it puts you in the travel path of vehicles. So it's primarily safety, and it's far more efficient to loop a street, doing one side at a time.
Okay, I'll let you slide with that one, because I just can't figure it out. If I miss my trash man on one side, I got to run across the street and try to catch it on the other side. And I'm like, why don't they just do on both sides at the same time? What, Jeff?
It is safety. You'd be astounded at how many people get hit in the road.
Right. If you have to cross the road, you get hit.
Listen, let me explain to you. It's not like at the crack of dawn, there's a lot of traffic going down my street.
It's enough.
Enough?
Yeah, all it takes is for the guy to...
All right, I'll let y'all slide with that. It was a good answer.
Thank you.
I just wanted to know, because I was like, I just don't understand why they couldn't, why had the chicken cross the road to get to the other side. Why couldn't they just do both? You have any questions, Jeff?
Well, the thing is I'd like to. My goodness. Sorry about that.
You'd like to what?
Nothing, because I have to get this.
Jeez, oh man.
The situation is that I think that these things are planned. I don't think that this is a situation where somebody just slighted you, by mistake. I think that this is truly where they want things to go. So that
what do you mean?
Their fund is in trouble.
Right.
Okay. Their fund is in trouble where people have been paying into that fund for years and years and years. Am I correct?
That would be correct.
Yeah. So now they've been doing this for years. Now all of a sudden their security is threatened. Who has to step in to do something about it? The good old U.S. of A.
Which makes us dependent back on the system again.
One more time, you're going to have another set of people that are dependent on a system and very hard to get off of. And the thing is they've done this over the years. This is not an overnight way that they've been doing. I think that they have calculated these things over like the past 20, 30 years. That the bottom would fall out at these times, especially when you get challenged with anything economically.
So you think that's why we haven't been because I mean, and Mr. Dunn, you have to understand we're pretty intense here. I don't know if I told you that. I don't. We know that. It's like with Social Security. We know that the fund is in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
We know that the economy is in trouble. We know that your fund is in trouble. You knew that a while back, and instead of us actually fixing it and making it solvent and giving it growth, we tend to let things slide, and we continue to do that. And then we get into a crisis mode and then tell you to deal with it. And see, it's going to come back and slap you as the employer than actually slapping someone else. Because people don't really understand that it's really not the employer's fault at all times.
Right.
No, not at all.
And the union probably is not trying to hear that either. Am I correct?
That's correct. But I mean, the numbers don't lie. 213 retirees drawn from the fund, and 67,000 active members.
Woo!
Wow.
So as membership declines, it's going to continue to get worse. If you're the last company standing and you have to take care of all the retirees, you're more than likely going to shut down.
That's just not good. That's not a good way to. I mean, you can't continue to run a business that way.
No, you cannot.
And that's a problem. And to my listening audience, this is a local issue, but it's a state issue, but it's actually a national issue. We are going to have to quit digging a hole and trying to find water when you know that there's no water underneath the hole that you're digging.
Hey, Tracy.
Yes, South Carolina. How are you?
I'm doing fine. There's one person wants to say hello to the guest. Happy New Year to him. But I've got a question that's floating around in my head here. I don't know if he handles the finance or the payroll part of it, but if he's got an employee that's making, say, $30,000 a year, I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. Approximately, what is the cost to the company for a $30,000 employee?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that an average salary here is $50K.
Oh, wait a minute. I got a question. Is that for the people picking up the trash?
It is.
Can I get a job?
We want in.
Because I one time it was not a good job to do the trash pickup, but can I get a job? Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
In the accounting side of things is not what I do. I have a controller here, but we do contribute a large amount in the retirement as well as the health and welfare. So I think it's somewhere in upwards of 55%.
Wow. It costs to hire.
Oh, my God.
There's a cost. And those of us who are employed, we need to understand your $10, $20, $50, whatever your hourly rate is, that is not what your employee is paying.
No.
And when you look at retirement, 401k, pensions, and your security and safety and all the things that go with it, you'd be surprised what they pay.
Unemployment insurance, what is the other one in case you get hurt?
Workers'
compensation.
Workers' comp.
That's a beast.
That's crazy. Nobody understands that, but they want to say these businesses are greedy. It make you want to wring somebody's neck. I'm sorry.
So I just ran the numbers, and it looks like a $50,000 employee would cost the company $77,500 a year.
You're probably right in the ballpark.
We need to understand that. And you have how many employees?
In the union, I have 106 to 110, depending on the season.
So do the math.
And I do have a lot of folks that fall into the $80,000 range, from years of service. It's been here a long time.
Years of service, and they make more?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hold on.
Any union contract.
Wait a minute. And they do the trash pickup thing?
Yes, they do, and they do it well.
I'm not knocking the pickup well, but you sure you don't have a spot for me?
Well, like I said, we'll look at your.
I show up on time and I don't do drugs, and I got a clean driving record. How's that?
Good start.
Listen, I want to thank you for coming on. Is there anything else that you want to say?
please, if anybody's listening and know any of my employees, just help to get the word out. They need to make an educated and informed decision when it does come to a vote. They need to understand what they're voting for, because it does impact their future.
And you need, and I won't make him say this, but I'll say this out loud. You have to have a profitable company to
Absolutely.
have a good job.
Like
if
I
the
tell
job,
people, I've never gotten a check from a poor person.
If you do not have a profitable company, you will not be employed long. You have to have a profitable company, and you have to keep your company solvent. You cannot bankrupt them on your own personal expense because you see the dollars coming in, because you have no idea how many checks get written to go out.
I have received a check from a poor person before.
Who, from me?
No. But wait a minute. It was a little rubbery.
Okay, that is true. And rubbery will not last long.
It won't spend much anyway.
I thank you so much. You're always welcome to come and be with us. If I can do anything for you, please let me know. And we appreciate you, and thank you for being in Youngstown.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Hey, you're listening to Tracey and Friends here on WSOM AM 600. I want to thank all of you that are listening in who are on my line that stayed here. But we need to understand this. $50,000 to pick up trash. It's a good job. I didn't know they made that much, Jeff. I'm telling y'all I'm in the wrong profession.
Oh, yeah. I knew that they did.